This lens is terrible, but there's more to it than that. Hey guys, welcome to another episode. Today I'm going to be talking about why this lens, the 7Artisans 35mm f1.2, could quite possibly be my favourite lens, even though it is the worst performer out of any that I own. This is not going to be a technical review. I'm sure a quick search on Google, YouTube will find all the information that you would need about that. This is just going to be more about my user experience, and experience is the key word with this lens. It's fully manual focus, manual aperturing as well, and when paired with the Fuji X-T3 or the XE3 that I own, it really adds to that faux analog experience that Fuji really like to push with their cameras. When shooting with this lens, it's much more involved than just relying on the autofocus like you would normally. But yeah, when paired with either of the Fujis that I own, switch focus peaking on, it really doesn't take that long to get used to. The build quality is really nice on this lens. It's quite heavy. The focus ring is really nice. It's well dampened. The aperture ring is clickless, which some people find a bit of a turn off. It can be quite easy to move the aperture ring whilst you're focusing, but for me it's not really been a deal breaker. Like, it doesn't happen that often, and it's not really been that much of an issue for me personally. Another positive is that it's really small. Over the past few years, that's really been my aim, is just to shrink down my camera gear, and it's much more appealing than carrying around a massive DSLR and lenses. So yeah, it's really helped in that regard. It's just a nice carry round package, especially when paired with the with the X-T3 that I have. It's just really nice. I'll just pop this on here, and yeah, it's just a nice carry round package. Now, image quality. From a technical standpoint, this lens has many flaws. And really it's just going to be down to you as to how many you can tolerate, really. It's crazy to think that camera manufacturers for decades have been trying to eradicate all of these flaws, like distortion and chromatic aberration, and just overall sharpness, and yet there are people like me actively seeking out lenses that have some of these imperfections, like crazy flares, or just a general softness or anything like that. But yeah, I know for me, in my experience, I'm just looking for something a little bit more authentic. We're fed day to day all of these perfect images that are just super crisp, super sharp, and I've been at that point. Before, when I had all my Canon gear, I was searching forever for the best lens, the sharpest lens, and for me it was a be all and end all at one point. Whereas now, my perspective has shifted, and yeah, I'm looking for something a little more interesting, a little more what I would call real and relatable. And I think I found it with this lens. So this lens has terrible distortion. At f1.2, it's really bad. The image just falls apart. Like, I can't even use it at f1.2 really. But from f1.4 onwards, it's not too bad. The corner sharpness is terrible. It looks like someone's just smeared Vaseline in the corner on some of the images, which, sometimes it works for me, sometimes it doesn't. It depends. But yeah, like, if you're into something perfect, it's not gonna fly. But yeah, it's created some of my favorite images that I've taken. Like, for portraits, it's okay. If you're gonna shoot f1.4, for example, shoot your portraits, get it sharp on the eyes, your subject's in the center, it's okay, it's fine. Like, I can get some really sharp images from this, and the corners don't really matter so much because they're probably going to be out of focus anyway, whether that's background or what. If you're going to shoot a landscape though, that's where you're really going to notice, and especially if you're focusing to infinity, it's soft there, and also if you're close to the minimum focus distance, it's also quite soft. But anything in the middle range, you're going to be able to grab focus. So from a technical standpoint, there are not really many positives that we can really draw from this lens, but that's not the point of it, in my opinion. This lens is about creating something unique, something a little different, something a bit offbeat, and just really pushing the creative side of a photographer. Some people are gonna argue that that's not creative, or that's not artistic. It needs to be this and this, and obviously everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I'm fed up of seeing stuff so perfect, like perfect images day in and day out. There are enough of them, and it doesn't mean to say that it's not necessary. Like if I was doing client work, for example, I would think twice about using this lens, and work with something that I can guarantee I'm gonna get some good results out of it. It's not something that you can use all the time, for sure, but for personal stuff, definitely is my go-to. I think 9 times out of 10, if I'm going to take the XE3 out, this lens is going to be on it. If we're going to get deep for a second, I think the way I view this lens is it represents the photography that I intend to take. So that's like everyday life, whether that's out in the street, out and around town, my family, or whatever, anything like that. And I want a representation of that, and we all know that life isn't perfect, so I don't want to really push that through my photography either. And another way that I can represent that is by using this lens that has its flaws. There are flashes of brilliance, and then there's also the bad sides as well, which I think really adds to the image and really gets the message across that I intend, and gives a more genuine and relatable image, in my opinion. That's also why I think film has made quite a comeback, is for the same reasons, really. People are probably a little bit fed up of seeing these perfect, really super clean digital images, and they want something a little bit more real, in a way. So it's this is my way of bringing that to my own work. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you whether you should buy this lens or not. I mean, we're all on our separate journeys, and we've all got a different view as to what we want to do with our own work, which is great. That's what it's all about, isn't it? We've all got our artistic vision, and this is just mine. These are the reasons why this works for me, and I can look past its flaws. So yeah, I mean, if you can relate to anything in this video, then yeah, go ahead. You really need to give it a shot, and this is why it's become such a permanent fixture on my XC3s, because it just works for me, and it delivers what I'm looking for, and that's what it's all about, really. I think as long as it fills the purpose of your image, then it's worth using. I don't think I would be able to, or it wouldn't come across in the same way, I don't think, if I was using the most perfect equipment that I could find. Like it wouldn't communicate what I want it to. So you've got to use the tool fit for the purpose, really, and what your goal is and what your vision is. If you enjoyed this video, you know, hit the like button. That would be great. It would really help me out. If you really liked it, maybe consider subscribing for future videos. And yeah, what are you waiting for? Start watching YouTube and go shoot.